What happens when the so-called Kundalini rises up your spine, up through your head, and then, comes here to your third eye? I don't know, a million different, I don't know, look it up, I don't know. Just imagine that you do have a third eye activation. They used to kid us in the memes of people that were the sheep of the drones, and people just wouldn't wake up. And they said it was the fluoride stare. They'd be all drinking booze, and their pineal gland would be calcified because that's what they always told us is that, when you took Colgate or Crest toothpaste, that the fluoride in that would migrate into your pineal gland and make it not work anymore. It would make it, instead of being soft and pliable, it would make it rock hard and, I don't know, crystallized or something, and it wouldn't work. I do know. That's what they used to tell us. The fluoride stare was a bunch of drunk girls looking at you like, when you're talking about chakras or something. I don't know. Everybody's so far beyond all this. I don't know. I don't know if you're a comic. How do you make jokes about this? I don't know. I don't know. So, there's this TV show called Sense8 on Netflix. Have you seen it? It's something about you discovering that you're inside somebody else's body or something. Is it possible? But I'll just skip that one off. It's just somebody's Netflix thing. Star Trek The Next Generation, Transformations episode. A very high-tech society, even more high-tech than us, perhaps. You don't know Corey Good and the Breakaway Secret Space Program and the Breakaway Advances Society, that we're a petri dish of ancestor simulation here on Earth, but the rest of intelligent life is watching us. We're in a hermetically sealed box, and they're watching us for something to do because people like to watch TV, and watching us humans go about our human day is what the Anshar do, according to whistleblower Corey Good. All right. So is this related to the third eye opening, that you can do a Sense8? That is, that you can start looking out through the eyes of other bodies? I don't know. I don't do that, but I think other people do. Why don't I get to do it? I don't know. Is somebody doing something to fuck me over? Or is this just like part of the game? No one wants to take the call. Paul White Gold Butler on the Prime Disclosure channel on YouTube. He keeps talking about what he calls the compression breakthrough. It's also related to this thing that they call the Great Solar Flash, otherwise known as the event. Isn't this like a redo of 2012 of the Rapture? Mm-hmm. Why are we redoing the 2012 Rapture, Paul? Well, on Prime Disclosure, it's just like, I don't know, I guess it was a snowball effect. People did hear, well, first the year 2000, 1999. Way back in the 1980s, there was a hit song by Prince. We're going to party like it's 1999 in our little red Corvette. So 1999, with huge expectations for like an enormous party, were built up from the time of that hit song. And then 1999 came, and I don't know, it wasn't that big of a deal. We thought that we'd have a big party like 1999 when it came, it was no big deal. And then it was the year 2000 millennium, the year later, and then again you're expecting a big deal, and I don't know. After that, then they invented the big hoax about the 2012 Mayan calendar thing from Mexico. And that was going to be the rapture, and there was a religious guy in the States that had nothing to do with the Mayans, but he was reported as being an old-time Baptist minister who had a vision from God, and there was going to be a rapture through his church, and that was being covered as kind of a joke thing in mainstream news. But all of this stuff steamrolls. It's like in the olden days when, we didn't have four-wheel drive cars. I don't know, 1975, and those cars were big and heavy. And if you were in the north where there was snow, you would get stuck with a rear-wheel drive 2-ton behemoth of steel. So you'd get 3 guys, or 4 guys, or 6 guys, and you'd rock this enormous car back and forth. You'd have to push it back and forth and rock it in order to get it out of, to get stuck in a big snow dump. So that resonance of back and forth is what you need to do. And it builds up even more momentum. And eventually you do get that enormous car out of being stuck in the snow by doing that. So I just think it's just been great expectations of people for an enormous event to happen. And these expectations of this enormous event, in the olden days, it was the second coming of Christ. An enormous latent expectation of some incredibly, earth-changing event. I don't know, some people, I don't know, we're going to hit by a meteor. I don't know. No, I don't know. Some people just have this hope in the back of their head that they're going to meet the movie star of their dreams. Pretty Woman was the movie. Or something. But anyways, as far as, it's just this one. Where is it? 73 and 37, Paul White Gold Butler. Eagle on Prime Disclosure always tells us these numbers here mean heaven and earth. 37 is also in centigrade, the temperature of the body, and there's all kinds of mathematical, like magic puzzles that go along with something to do with this. I don't know. So it's just that, consciousness researcher David R. Hawkins said in one of his lectures, because he was asked, are the ideas about Abraham Hicks right about doing manifestations of things? Can you manifest things using your mind? Dr. Hawkins, expert on consciousness. Dr. Hawkins, about 80 years old, took off his spectacles and he looked at the crowd and he said, and he probably did a muscle test too, yes, what is held in mind tends to manifest. Yes. So if you do it right and you hold it in mind right and correctly according to the Abraham Hicks method you can find on YouTube, you should be able to manifest. And then you put a whole pile of people together with this enormous expectation of something called a rapture to heaven, and almost left behind books to reinforce it among the, I don't know. It's just that even things that say, no, we're not going to have a rapture, add energy to the energy of creation of rapture. It does. Being against something actually makes it more likely to happen. Because you're holding it in mind. I'm anti the rapture, and it's just held in mind. Rapture and anti-rapture are held in mind, and what's going to happen? Something is going to happen. The anti-rapture, rapture. You're just going to get something, because saying no to something doesn't make it less likely to happen. It makes it more likely to happen because you're holding it in mind with energy that's like drawing attention to this as well, because you're like holding it up. So there is in human collective consciousness an intention for a rapture level event, planet-wide. So, okay, it's being, and that's just it. It's held in mind. When is karmic propensities is the answer. When the karmic propensities are conducive, the thing is going to manifest. Are there some long-term karma that's going to dampen this expected rapture event of the solar flash? We don't know, unfortunately. But what do we know? Well, we know David R. Hawkins told us that in the future we are going to change a species. We humans are going to evolve into the next level. And he called it Homo spiritus, spirit man. Homo sapiens sapiens is what you would learn in anthropology or biology for the technical biological name, the Linnaeus name, which goes back to Latin, ancient Rome, naming conventions for flora and fauna on the planet. But Dr. Hawkins of conscious research said, well, that's what's going to happen. You get up to around 1,000 on the scale of human consciousness, and we're going to start calling you Homo spiritus because, So anyway, that's what he said. Paul White Gold Butler, Eagle of Prime Disclosure, the one that keeps telling us about 73 and 37. You really need to listen to him every day. He's got all kinds of good news. Instead of listening to mainstream news at 6 o'clock or 6:30 p.m., go on YouTube and listen to Prime Disclosure instead. Because it's better news every way. It's upbeat, positive news, even for me. So, Paul calls it, he also says, a change in species name. Instead of Homo spiritus, he calls it Homo luminis. Other commentators around the internet talk about rainbow body of the Tibetan rainbow body, so you can look that up, and it's related, yes. It's related to this. It's just held in consciousness. The second coming of Christ, what do you expect? You to become like Jesus, wouldn't you? If the second coming of Christ comes, well, don't you expect that it's going to be you. That's what they say. They don't say, well, how on earth is one Jesus, the Jesus of Nazareth, ever going to talk to 8 billion people on earth? I don't know. On TV, it's not going to be right. No. So he's either going to talk to people, I don't know. I don't know. The second coming of Christ is when you become Christ. When you raise your consciousness on the scale of human consciousness to 1,000. Christ is a title. And you can be, I don't know, Freddie Christ or Mary Christ if you want to be when you hit 1,000. And it's the Christ. Mary the Christ. Freddie the Christ. Jesus the Christ. Just like, Mahatma in India. Mohandas Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma is a title. I can't remember what it means in English, but it's like, I don't know, a blessed soul or something, Mahatma. So that's what, I don't know. So the second coming of Christ is not, I don't know, because apparently Jesus can talk to you by telepathy. And, being, an ascended master, I don't know, he probably could manifest a body. And ascended masters can bilocate that as being more than one place at the same time. Can you bilocate 8 billion different times at the same time? I don't know. He died and came back from the dead. I don't know. I would limit the guy's abilities. Socrates says. Okay, we're done this part.